Hello, everyone. Today's topic of discussion: internet dating. Does it really work?
You're listening to Relationships and Chill, the podcast for singles and couples about how to find and cultivate the relationship you've always dreamed of, based on trust and honest communication. Why waste your time going through the typical dating obstacle course, only to end up with drama, jealousy, and heartbreak, when you can find the love of your life and live happily ever after? So sit back, chill, and get ready to make relationships great again.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show Relationships and Chill, where I am your host, R. Anthony. And our desire is to make relationships great again. Now, you can pick the era, and we'll start there. But our goal is to provide great information on how to find, keep, and grow great relationships. That's what we do here, and that's what we love to talk about and love to discuss. So we'll be bringing so many different topics on how to accomplish this feat, because nowadays, this modern age, day and age of dating is kind of complex, and for the most part, it's not working. So we want to aim to help fix the problems instead of just pointing them out. So like I said, my name is R. Anthony. This is Relationships and Chill. We're joined by my co-host, Christina Lynn. Christina Lynn, tell everybody what we got going on today.
Hey, everybody. We are discussing computer love, and I am so excited about this topic because I think our Anthony and I both have a lot of experience with this particular topic. What do you think, our Anthony?
I agree. I mean, shoot, there's so much to get into. We got so much to talk about as it relates to internet dating, because as you know, I met my woman through online. Now, it wasn't through an actual dating site, but I did meet her online because she actually is from Canada, a black woman from Canada, which is whatever. But I met her. Actually, I didn't even meet her. I have an Instagram. Relationships and Chill is our Instagram. You can follow us there. But I have my own personal Instagram, LL Padrino. But before, I had cut it off. And the one I had before, I had a young lady that I was dealing with prior to me actually having an Instagram. And she was a Filipino young lady. And basically, I don't even know why I followed this other girl, because I kind of thought it was her, or that she reminded me of her, right? So, and I wasn't really interested. She just reminded me of the girl that I used to deal with, and so I followed her. And one day she posted a picture of herself and a couple of her friends, and so I'm just scrolling through my Instagram feed, and then all of a sudden I run across this picture. And I saw this picture. I saw 4 women. I said 3 of them are all right, but that woman right there is gonna be my woman. Didn't know her from a can of paint. She didn't. You know how on Instagram they have the @ this person or whatever. There wasn't even an @ because she didn't even have an Instagram that she had published or made public.
Wow.
So there was no way for me to even find her on Instagram. So. But I was like, that's going to be my woman. I don't know who she is, but I'm going to find a way to get to at least get to know this woman. Yeah, I'm going to find a way. One way or another, I'm going to find a way to see and see, to get a better view of who this woman is.
Hey, ladies, take note. Ladies, take note right now. Okay, if our men aren't chasing us like that man just chasing that woman, guess what?
I mean, listen, I had to have her. I had to have her, but I didn't have a way to get her. That was the thing, but I found a way. So the only thing that was on there was like a hashtag and her name. So I was like, I guess I could start there. That's the only thing I got on her without actually like directly going to the person, because I didn't want to do that, because I didn't even know her at all. I didn't know her friend. So desperate times calls for desperate measures. But it worked out in the end. So what I did was I went on ahead and I Googled her name that she had put it on there. She put hashtag Ilulu, right? So I didn't know what Ilulu was. I didn't even know it was her name. That was the only reasonable one that could be put up there. So I just Googled that name.
Wow.
And lo and behold, on Google search, I saw a picture of her. I was like, I think that's her. Because it's like the only Ilulu on here that's actually a person. Because the rest of it was like anime or something like that. Anywho, so I was like, okay, let me see how I can find her. So I ended up finding her on Facebook.
Wow.
And I know it's a little stalkerish, but I'm not a stalker. I know what I want. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference. I knew that she was gonna be my woman. Like I had like a 99%, you know what I mean? Like that's gonna be her.
Y'all don't understand. Now this is Mr. Sex Symbol. So,
I mean, hey.
it's not like he was hard up on trying to find somebody.
That's
this
true.
was a special
wasn't. I had
connection.
I had an overflow.
Overflow.
Yeah, I had an
Cup
overflow.
runneth
player.
over.
I had my cuppeth runneth over. My cuppeth runneth over it.
Hey.
It was running over for real. But at that time, I really cut off a lot of the women that I had been dealing with, and that's where the clarity came from, where I could say, okay, that's gonna be my woman, because like everything I had examined before, I mean, it was good, but I wasn't at the place where I can see it clearly, because I would not have probably allowed myself to deal with a majority of the women that I dealt with. But anyway, long story short, and I'll get back to that. But long story short, I ended up, like I said, finding her on Facebook. I sent her a friend request. Actually, the dates are amazing, because I'll get more into that on the episode with me and my wife. So stay tuned for that one. The dates were amazing. They kind of lined up to where my mom's birthday, it happened like a day or two after my mom's birthday, and I sent the friend request on, it was like weird, whatever. So I waited, because I sent the friend request. All you can do is wait. So she accepted my friend request maybe a day or two later. She accepted it, right? And so I didn't say anything to her, because I wanted to observe. I didn't want to just go right out and be like, hey, baby, what's up? I wanted to see, if she was in a relationship, if she was married, if she had any kids, just her demeanor and her, her mentality. I wanted to observe it before I even made a move. I didn't want to just make a move and just start talking to her and then just waste my time. So I didn't want to develop any expectations, even though I was like, that's going to be my woman. I had to kill my expectations of how I thought she should be or could be or was supposed to be.
Wow.
So my expectations of her were only going to come, or not even, my expectations were completely removed. That's why I observed to see how she was, so that I can be realistic in my approach.
So question for those who are single and waiting patiently to meet someone, especially in regards to a relationship, should there be any expectations?
I personally don't think it. You know the answers to that. You shouldn't have any expectations, because what you expect is what you will get. But you don't get it in the way that you think you should get it. You get the version of it that is relative to what you want or believe you want or believe. So if you have an expectation that this person is going to be, is going to be your next man or woman, and then you have like you'll see it all the time, like, and I want to get into that as far as the internet dating thing. I'm gonna finish the story, but I want to get into the expectations, because when people create these profiles on these websites, they are putting out their expectation. So it's easy for a person to become what they expect, only to lead further down the line and be completely not what that person wanted.
And you guys, 53% of all profiles, there is somebody telling a lie. I just looked that up, and I thought that was a very interesting statistic.
I know it's a very interesting statistic, because a lot of women be like they want relationships, and then next thing you know, they on their back, or
And
After the
that
first
ain't no
date or two.
relationship.
That ain't no. That's a relationship. It is a relationship.
It's
Don't
a
get
part
it.
of a relationship. Man.
It is a
It's
sexual
not the
relationship.
relationship.
I mean, you know. But listen, what kind of relationship you want, baby? Because I'm gonna give it to you all.
Hey.
That's how I was approaching it. Like, okay, you want a relationship, but you ain't specify what kind of relationship.
What kind of relationship, baby?
Yeah. But you know, some of them will get hip to it, and they'll say they want a committed relationship, like a very small percentage.
Right.
But the devil is really into the details because
Yeah.
a man could become, or a woman. That's why I never, like when I was doing it, I was never filling out anything. I'd just be like, listen, just get to know me, and we'll go from there, or
That's right.
you know, whatever. Because if I put out my expectation or my desire, it's easy for a woman to say, I'm this, I'm that. Everything that I listed that I want, just because she know that's what I'm looking for. So it's easy for her to mimic that person, or it's easy for a man to mimic what you say you want. And so that becomes a problem. But back to my story. Let me get me and my woman's story out of the way, because I'm going to go with more in detail later. I just wanted to kind of give a synopsis. But anyway, I waited. I wanted to wait. This is the last part. But I wanted to wait to observe her. Now, she messaged me and was like, do I know you? Like that type of thing. She hit me with the like, do I know you? But it was her way of kind of like seeing what who I am, and you know, her way of being interested. So we from that day forward, we've always talked. From that day forward, so we've talked. We got married like a year or two later. I'm kind of like fuzzy right now because I'm drinking a little Vika. But anyway, back to the situation. Relationships and chill. And this, like we said, there's so much to touch on when it comes to internet dating. You know, I mean, because I think nowadays it's probably about the only way to really meet a good selection of people, because you're really limited to, I mean, and now everything is changing to where you're buying stuff more online. You're socializing online through social media, Instagram, Twitter. Our lives are becoming internet based. Like everything is revolving around online. So it's really, you're not really, and then you're at home watching Netflix and all these different Hulus and all that kind of stuff. You're watching all these different streaming services. Kind of condenses your world to work and at home. So you really don't have a opportunity to meet a lot of people. And if you go out to a lounge or a club or whatever, you're going to tend to run into the same person or the same people or the same types of people. And that can become repetitive and become a problem. But the internet dating, it has its own set of problems. And so we want to talk about those things too. Like, I think, what do you think, as far as, I know a lot of people feel like if we meet online, don't tell whoever we met online. What do you think about that? Because I know that kind of is a touchy topic for you.
It's a really tricky topic for me. My partner and I met online. You know, we used Black Planet, that particular forum, and you know, it wasn't initially for a date. You know, we actually, the thing that's so funny about us, the way that we started, is that I disagreed with the statement that he made. And in my disagreement, he came back and rebutted.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, wow, oh my goodness, like it was such a smart rebuttal. Mm-hmm. It was so smart. And I was just like kind of taken aback. I never paid attention to what he looked like anything about him. I just couldn't believe his rebuttal. And so then I, of course, had to send him a little, you know, rebuttal myself. And it was so cute because I think that that's what caused him to be interested in me, was my reaction to his rebuttal. I wasn't offended whatsoever. It was something that someone would normally be like, you know, excuse me, like, where are you coming from? You know, right. And it was just, the way I guess that I handled it, I would love to hear him tell the story.
Oh,
But yeah, it would probably be way less animated than me.
no, it's all
As you
good.
know, my guy is kind of quiet and laid back. But yeah, this taboo situation is interesting because he comes from a traditional Dominican Catholic family, and his family would certainly not be very accepting of the idea of him having you know his first real partner in life come from a internet dating
You think so?
situation.
I think people are a little bit more accepting now than probably back in the early 2000s when it was kind of weird. But I think, like you said, what's the percentage? You gave a statistic. What's the statistic of women that are getting married online?
Right now, 19%.
19%.
And I thought the number might be a little bit higher,
They're on the rise, player. They're on the rise.
but
You
it
gotta
is on
start
the
somewhere.
rise. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's on the rise.
It's on the rise. But, the unfortunate part of it all, though, is that, when you are internet dating, the problem with it is that 53% of all people on internet dating sites are telling lies in their profile.
I mean, people are telling, like 90% of people are telling lies in real life.
Exactly. That's the truth.
So, I mean, that's not saying a whole lot.
So maybe that statistic needs to be upped a little bit.
That statistic is low.
They lowballing
They
it.
lowballing it. Because I know in real life, like 90% of them be lying like I don't know what. You know what I mean?
All
That's
day
a whole
long.
nother conversation. But
All day long.
I think it could work. I think, honestly, any relationship can work. Even if you met at the pet store or Walmart or the movies. I don't know. I've never met a person at the movies. That's kind of weird. Usually when you go to,
don't know.
have you ever done that?
I don't think I have either.
I've
But
never met.
You know why I think so though? The reason why is because I think our attention is just so much on
Whatever we're coming to see.
film,
Yeah.
that we're not really all
But
that.
still on the
into-
walkout though, it's like the let out of the club player. Like
Oh yeah.
it's like leaving out the club. Like you got to find something to come home with.
Hold on, wait. I just realized you just said the walkout.
Yeah, the let out.
You
We call it the
done
let
called
out
it-
down here.
You got a name for it. You done called it the walkout.
Yeah,
That's
we call
it.
it the let
That's
out.
it. I'm done.
When you come out the club, it's called the let out. So when people go into their cars, you got to try to, you know what I mean,
Hey.
scoop one up.
That's all
You got to
right.
kind of scoop one up as quick as possible before they skirt off in the vehicle.
Hey, that's a real quick moving. That's some quick thinking then.
Well, that's
Dang.
you got to be because as like for us, we got to be quick because we know, it's only a small window before you consider a weird guy that's just following the chick around.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But two, like, I think that's why internet dating is beneficial because there's that awkwardness if you're apprehensive as a guy. Like if you have that even just the smallest hint of apprehension to where you don't want to approach. And I think there's a thin line between being self-conscious and being apprehensive. Because I think some people will read that as lack of confidence, but it's more so like I think a lot of the times we overthink it and not just go for it because it depends on what the person has going on or what the person just came out of.
That's
If the
true.
person just came out of a situation, they'll be less likely to want to approach a new situation the same way that they approached or just needing time to get over it, where they may feel like, I feel like I'm ready to, move forward. But then at that moment, they're like, nah, I ain't ready. I ain't ready. But then they may second guess again, like, okay, let me just try it out. And then it becomes that weird thing, like now the dude is following you around and you're like, why is this guy following me? Because he's like apprehensive. He's like, I want to talk to you, but I don't know if I should or, So, but we talk about all that kind of stuff because that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that in real life. But this right here is about doing it online, and it takes a lot of the apprehension out because there isn't that face-to-face pressure.
Do you think that, okay, since there isn't that face-to-face pressure, do you think that internet dating is easier than real life dating?
I think it has its drawbacks, and I think it has its positives and it has its negatives. I think, I think it's easier to interact because a lot of the preliminary stuff is already laid out on the profile, like where you from, how old you are. Well, most of the time it's how old you are, where you're from, some of the likes that you may have,
Right.
pictures so that you can see you in different environments. Whereas when you meet somebody up front, it's just what it is right at that moment.
Okay.
So I think there's more creativity as it relates to meeting somebody in person as opposed to online, because you have to create a whole new narrative to talk about, because there's really not much to talk about if I meet you online.
Right.
So, we have to create something we have to start something apart from what we already know, because most of the information is already being put forward. Oh my gosh. Hold on. That's Siri. I don't know. This
We had a couple of hiccups today.
we did, but it's all good though. We working through. We're gonna
We
work through
vibing.
this. Listen, y'all, there's a hiccup from Siri. She came through and messed up my recording, but it's all good. We're gonna keep it in. So anyway,
keep it right.
keep it riding.
That's it. That's what we do till the wheels fall off.
Hey, we got to. So,
Hey.
but I mean, I guess we kind of, for me, it works. It worked for me, and all I could do is offer my 2 cents about it, because me and my woman, it works for us. I mean, it worked for us in that moment. I think a lot of it too is moments. Like, I think the fact that I was ready for her, I don't think it would have mattered where we met. We were going to meet, and that was going to happen.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, we were actually ready for each other. And so there was nothing that was going to hold it. Now, it made it easier to connect to her by connecting with her online, but ultimately it was going to happen one way or another, because I wasn't going to accept anything less than what she has or who she is,
Exactly.
if that makes sense.
It makes plenty of sense. It makes plenty of sense. And I'll also say that I really think that internet dating is not a bad idea. Obviously, we've got, like there's different types of people, just like when you're going to a bar, when you're going to the gym,
Yep,
when you're
that's
going
true.
to the grocery store. There's going to be different types of people that you run into, but for the most part, it gives you the opportunity to ask real questions and create a dialogue that you might not otherwise be able to create if you're face to face. Actually, our Anthony and I were talking about it earlier. It's like, when you're face to face, things get physical way
Way too
faster,
quick, yeah.
and sometimes way too fast. And the thing I like about internet dating, it kind of pushes the dialogue forward. You have to speak, you have to have a conversation,
That's
you
true.
have to ask questions. It's not just about how attractive is this person,
But you also don't want to get catfished
really
either.
quickly.
But then you got, you don't. A lot of people think that they're going to get catfished because that kind of threw a monkey wrench in the program. But then you got FaceTime and Skype and all these different things that you can use to make sure that the person is who they say
It's
they
real.
are.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I would absolutely do like a Skype or something like that. Another thing I've been thinking about, and I'm gonna save this towards the end, and it's gonna be about nude pictures.
Nude pictures?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know, right? You weren't ready for that.
I am ready for it, because let me tell you how,
Talk to
like,
me.
it's ridiculous how many I have gotten without even a hello.
I know women, y'all hate that.
Oh, I hate it. It's the most. I mean, it's like, okay, all you're showing me is meat. Like, nobody cares about meat. I want to know about who you are. At least say hello.
You don't want to listen.
My goodness.
I understand. I mean, I don't know, but from our perspective, right? Because nowadays, I didn't want to get into this right now. I wanted to wait until the end. Okay, I wanted to save this until the end because I knew, but. We'll get it. Okay, we're gonna talk about it right now. Can you hear me?
Because I'm passionate about this one. This one is disturbing.
Oh, to me,
talk now to the fellas.
You talk to the fellas because for me, I ain't never done that. I'm always a receiver on that end.
Of course,
I request it. I would request a woman to send me some nude pictures because nowadays with all these trends going on out here. You gotta make sure, fellas. You gotta make sure. Make it a prerequisite. Make it a prerequisite. Put it in your profile. I have to have, but make sure you caption it like.
I have to have what?
Listen, you got to have some nudes, something, because I want to make sure you were born a female. Show me a birth certificate. Okay, let's start off with a birth certificate. Yeah, show me a birth certificate, and then we'll go from there. This is definitely not for the children.
That's not for the children.
Yeah, that's not for the children. But for real though, seriously, because like, man, these transsexuals are getting way better at it. They're becoming like
oh,
experts.
This is scary.
Yeah, it is. So
it is scary.
A man got to know. You know what I mean?
And I done seen some beautiful transsexuals, y'all. I'm not gonna even play with you because I'm talking beautiful. I'm talking about you walk down the street and you see Halle Berry. And you like, well, wait a minute now.
I'm glad I ain't never got caught up in no foolishness like that. I ain't never got caught up in no trans or no nothing like that. So 100%.
Bless brother, honey.
Take my word. All strictly vagina. Organic.
All right now.
Organic vagina. Homegrown. Grown straight from the soil.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, I think there has to be something like, like you got to ask for something as a guy. Now, I ain't going to advocate just sending women, pictures out the gate. I don't even advocate sending pictures like, I'd be like, hey, baby, you going to have to wait for the real thing because I don't send no pictures.
But women, for us, we send them way more.
But for me, yeah, exactly. For me, it's more scientific research. It has nothing to do with sexual anything. I just do scientific research just to make sure
things
make sure everything's organic, USDA approved, and then I move forward. So it's not something I actually have to have, whatever. On to the next thing. But I thought that was something that had, and I know women, because there are a lot of creepo dudes out there that will send a woman whatever kind of picture.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Now, and they do it with no rhyme or reason. Now, you had a reason to ask or request for.
I created a reason.
And that right there, hey, I'm 100% for that because, like I said, women were way more free.
Right.
It's not something that would be offensive. Like, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
However, for you to not say hello in my inbox.
Okay, so they just coming straight to it.
What's your name? Oh, I'm telling you. And it is, and like, it's really, it's just like, okay, I open up the inbox. I'm expecting to see, hey,
right.
My name is.
Well, let me ask you a question. Can I ask you something? Out of, let's say, 10 guys, how many would do that?
Oh, out of 10, I promise you at least 6. I promise you.
60% of dudes just showing their meat straight off the jump.
You. Oh, yes, absolutely.
What?
You better, as a woman, you have to, you basically expect that every, at least, man. I mean, it's to the point to where it's ridiculous. Now, some of them will at least start a conversation, though. And they'll say,
hey, how you doing? Yeah. And here's my meat.
Yeah, exactly. Like you will get a few bars from them.
I ain't never did nothing like that, man. I always believe in, like, I want to talk to this woman and see what's on her mind before I even, we even move to that
think
point.
like that. Even
Yeah,
think
I
like
can't.
that. Yes.
Heck no, that ain't my forte. But some guys, but that goes back to why some guys do the internet dating, because that's weird. Because imagine you just out in public and a dude just like walks up to you and pulls out his meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know
And
what I
they
mean?
don't know. We don't even care about y'all meat. We could care less. Like, I mean, obviously, we're sexual beings too, and we desire things like that. But when we be thinking sexually, we don't think about y'all meat. We think about other things. Them shoulders, them arms, them hands, that, like that bag, like that, like we think in such a different way than the way that you guys probably
I know.
think.
That's we think totally different when as it relates to anything. But don't you think women have to kind of expect? Well, not even expect, but y'all have to kind of like, okay, 6 out of 10 dudes is just gonna be,
straight up
weirdos, right?
Straight up.
That's a big percentage. Shoot,
It's huge. It's huge.
If 60% of my women, if 60% of women would just send nude pictures out the gate.
Out the gate.
Shoot.
That'll be all right. Huh?
Yeah, it'll be all right with me.
But I tell you
I'm
one
following
thing,
the majority.
if I was to revive my old account, I would love to go through that thing, and it'd be funny if it was even more than that. But it really is. I mean, it was really just like literally, I would just be ready. And then my Instagram, I had to do.
How's your Instagram?
And I didn't. My Instagram account. Like the reason, like I had to put like a block on, like I had to do like I guess where you block it so that you can accept material from someone, because I was getting those daily and I would get videos.
Wow.
Of situations, yes, and very. I mean, and I'm like, okay, my child will not be on Instagram until they're of age. Period.
See, for me. It's so foreign for like a guy like myself to hear this type of stuff. It's like disturbing, really, because then you never know. You could be hanging with a dude that you've known for a while, and he could be like one of those guys, one of those dudes.
I guarantee you, one of them.
You know what I mean? Like they lump you in with that guy. Like you're one of those guys too. You're a penis puller outer from the jump. I mean, that's probably why I don't hang out with dudes though. But I don't really hang out with a lot of guys. But yeah, I mean, that's so strange though. But I don't doubt it. But I ain't, man, if the shoe was on the other foot and women were doing that, you would not hear one complaint. You would have never heard no complaints from me.
One complaint, honey. You know that song, It Go Down to the DM. It go down in
my
the DM.
My DM is dry as the Sahara. So if you do want to, never mind, I'm just joking.
Hey.
No, my DM is really extremely dry, which I'm cool with because I'm good.
Right.
I'm happy, man. My woman will send me a nude picture right now.
That's right. Set it off.
Set it off.
Set it off.
It's gonna get set off, all right. But no, but for real though, we covered some of the stuff we were gonna talk about. But yeah, that's an interesting perspective. Like we don't have that kind of problem.
Wow.
But I will say this though, if you're a busy man like myself, meeting online is good, especially if you traveling to different cities. Because what I would do is I would kind of have me something lined up.
But when you go into like Georgia, going in
exactly.
LA, you going into Vegas. Yeah.
Man, I remember at one point in my heyday, in my prime heyday, I was driving because I have a trucking company, but I was driving from somewhere. I don't even remember. I was like in the Midwest somewhere, and I was like, man, like I just kept getting text after text after text, and it was like so many women texting me, and so I was like, let me just count up the amount of women I'm dealing with at this point. Not all of them, not having sex with all of them, but it's like just interacting with all these different women. Most of them I could potentially have had sex with, but it was just more like interacting with on one level or another. But not like my sister or my cousin, but like just women that I was interested in or had interest in me, but we just haven't gotten to that point. I counted it up, player, and this is no lie. I counted it up within a 7-day window. All the interactions with women that I had, it was 66 women.
Wow.
That I have been dealing with.
Mr. Sex Symbol himself, y'all. I told you I ain't never lied.
But listen, I mean, a majority of them I was thrusting. I was thrusting
Hey,
a
nah.
good portion of them, but at the end of the day, I mean, but it was good because I wasn't. A lot of it was just great conversation, great dialogue. I had plenty of time, and I wasn't just like thrusting women, just to like it just happens like. But I would offer them. My main motto was this, right? Christina Latrice. My motto was this: I'm gonna give a woman more value to her than she thinks she's giving to me sexually, right? So if a woman thinks she's having sex with me and she thinks like she's giving part of herself away, the conversation and the information that I'll be giving her is gonna be worth way more than she thinks she's giving to me.
Hey.
So I always like in my mind, like I want to give more value, more of something that is going to mean something to her or mean something later on.
Now, audience, I feel like we all need to do this. I think we all need to have the intention, set that intention to give more value.
Yeah. I thought it was fair that they gave me for payment now. It was a reward for my hard work.
I'm thinking he's talking about some gigolo type stuff, man.
No, I'm saying the conversation I was giving them, the information I was giving them, I mean, it was only right. It was only a fair compensation to give a brother. Huh? Yeah, that's how that was my perspective. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was a thing of the past.
Yeah, no.
But that was the way that was the way I provided value. I was literally a walking conversationalist.
But I was gonna say that. You know what though? I'm gonna be honest, because you guys, I am a very, very close friend. That is my brother.
Absolutely.
And he has added value to my life.
And we ain't did nothing like that. So don't get it. Yeah, nothing close.
Oh yeah, my brother. I said my brother.
But some people would take that the wrong, because they have like play brothers and stuff like that. That something has happened with it in the past.
We don't play.
No, we don't play them games.
We brothers and sisters. Period, y'all.
100%.
Always.
Oh, another thing. What do you think? Because a lot of people will go, and I've seen this before. A lot of women will go, because I did some recognizance research on online. So I went to a few dating sites to kind of get myself together while I was doing research, literally research to create this podcast. And the thing that I kept seeing with a lot of women was they don't want text buddies, or they don't want to be pen pals or whatever. So they want somebody local that they can see on a consistent, regular basis. But don't you think... But what will be the purpose of going online to meet somebody you can possibly meet locally?
I don't know. That don't make too much sense to me.
I guess it kind of does make a little sense. Like you kind of want to meet somebody that you can hang out with, as opposed to almost probably never meeting the person in real life.
But a woman, it almost don't matter what we look like. We can go. I done went to a store with rollers in my hand. It don't matter.
But I think
you can meet you somebody.
But you know how it is. Like when you even for a woman, like you out at the grocery store, you trying to get what you trying to get, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy walks up to you and saying whatever, like your mind is on the pack of hamburger, the pack of buns that you got to get, that you almost forgot to get, and this guy just walking up to you trying to talk to you. And you ain't really getting a good look. You trying to get home, and you know what I mean.
That's true.
So, I think for that reason, it'll be good because you can kind of assess the person, look at a few pictures, and then, go meet up with the person eventually. Okay. So I do get that, but I'm saying like, who cares about that part? At the end of the day, like if the person is not ideal for you, it don't matter where they live.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter if they live they your neighbors or they live in Timbuktu. If they ain't, supposed to, if you're not supposed to be with that person, it's not gonna matter.
Not gonna matter. And if there's no chemistry, that ain't gonna matter either.
I mean, but shoot, what do people know? What is chemistry? Like, how do you
Ooh,
even
that's a good
cultivate
question.
chemistry online? Like, how does a person? Because another thing I kept seeing was, like, women will always put, "Don't come with me. Don't come at me with just hi and hello." Like, what else is a guy supposed to say? He doesn't know you. Like, how is he supposed to approach you online when you got a profile written up? Like, what is he supposed to say?
Exactly. You're supposed to give me your whole life story. The gentlemen have it on their pages too, the same way. I don't understand that. I've never got that. Just say hi to me. You can say hi to
Right.
me, and we can go from there.
I mean, it makes sense. Imagine walking up to somebody in real life and just having a full blown conversation with them.
Oh, guess what, everybody? I've got a pilot's license, and
Right.
I'm 32 years old, and I had a child, but I was 16.
Yeah, just walking up to a person, just saying, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
who does that? Like, who walks up to somebody and say, I wasn't going to talk to you, but I want to talk to you, but I like your dog because you got a dog on your profile picture. Who does that? Who does that in real life? But that's why the dating scene is like horrible, because people are so confused and they want, like, if you're literally dating, you have to be so many people because so many people want different variations of what you already are.
That's true. That's so true.
So you got to kind of adapt yourself.
Knowing what we want, right?
But it becomes repetitive after that. Like, after a little while, it becomes so repetitive, and that's why I'm glad I'm out of the dating game, because after a while, it becomes the same repetitive cycle where you know what they want. You just got to figure out the variation that you have to perpetuate, that you have to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you just got to figure out which one that she likes.
Right.
She likes a gentleman. Okay, I got put on my gentleman suit. She likes a bad boy. Okay, I'm gonna put on my bad boy uniform. You know what I mean? So we have different variations that just at the end of the day are just variations, as opposed to. But that comes with the expectations. If you have an expectation of what you think you want from a person, the type and all that stuff, then that person will easily become, because they've been used to doing that already.
Right. That's right. That's right. You had a couple things that you said to me not too long ago that I thought was very interesting, and it goes along with that. It was something like, if you put it out there to a guy that you love long walks in the park, and yada yada yada, like, basically, if you say what you want, then they're going to give you what you want in order to get what they want, and then they bounce.
Right.
And it's this is something that I think this is why being observant is so important, and just sitting back. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Nonverbal communication is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And you, as a sex symbol, sir, could you tell us how much of nonverbal communication?
First of all, the sex symbol stuff was in the past, right?
Oh, he's a sex symbol to his wife. Represent.
Well, to my wife, but I mean, I've been hung up that hat. We're on the relationships and chilling right now, but I don't know. What's the question?
No, how much of body language is nonverbal communication?
Nonverbal communication is 38%.
Okay.
Yeah, nonverbal communication is 38%. 55% is body language. And
so this is for the ladies. Then we don't have to express everything. We don't have to tell.
Well, the thing about body language is this, because it's just a way of expressing, because out of all of it, what you actually say, the words that you literally say, is only 7% of what's actually communicated. The majority of what's communicated is your body language, like how you actually are moving your body and your head and all that kind of stuff, your hands. That's majority of what's being communicated. The inflection and the way you say things is 38% of what's being communicated. So there's a whole bunch of tips and tricks I got in my book, The Sex Symbols Guide to Body Language, that was written a couple years ago. But it helps because you're able to look at pictures and you're able to kind of see the type of person that you'll be basically meeting eventually, mixed with the verbal when you actually talk to them on the phone.
Okay.
And you're able to put two and two together. Now, depending if they have pictures up there from 1992, then that won't count. But if they got recent pictures, you're able to like pick up on the subtle nuances of their facial expressions and all that kind of stuff, which is a whole nother form of communication. But it's very important to be able to like not only pick up on them, but to pick up on the signals that you're giving off as an individual. That's very important to know. That you got to look at your previous way of doing things, because it's going to tell the story on the type of person that you're drawn to at this particular moment, whether they're online or whether they're in person or whatever. There's certain things that draw us to certain people, certain types. That's why people have types. So when you're drawn to a certain particular type of person, it's because of something that you've experienced or you've been made aware of to a certain degree. And we can get too much. That's like a deep thing, because then you're talking about like what people prefer is based on what you've experienced. It's based on what you know. You can't prefer something that you've never heard of or never saw before.
Right. Oh,
so,
wow, that's deep. That is deep.
So, yeah, it's pretty deep. That's why I was, kind of hesitant about going into it, because now you're getting into your preferences are all similar. That's why, you see a lot of people that have, the similar relationships over and over again. They constantly attract the same type of person. They constantly attract people who lie. They constantly attract guys who cheat. They constantly attract guys who are not good with money. They constantly attract guys that are, that beat women or whatever, these perpetual things that they continuously attract. Right. But why is that? There's something in you that's radiating out or that's sending the signal to that particular type of guy.
That's right.
And that's what you're accepting. You're accepting that particular type of guy. And that particular guy has already read you from the time you walked in or the first time he saw you. Whether it be through picture, whether it be at the grocery store, whether it be at church, wherever you at, he knows your type. Right. And he knows that your type will be more susceptible to his type, to the type of person that he is.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. And I know it's true. And that's through experience too, even from my own. And for our audience, I the reason why, one of the main reasons why I just love this podcast, our podcast is just dope to me, is because we are very honest and we bring forth, real experience. And, this is something that I know for myself that I've seen patterns, in different relationships. I could see, the different things. And again, as you guys get to know who we are and our stories, you'll also get to learn about how much, information that I have been able to retrieve from our Anthony to help me through those patterns. So you may be one of those people experiencing certain patterns. Our Anthony is here to knock some of those things out, to help you guys kind of see, that those patterns do exist. And once because knowing is really a big chunk of that battle. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we're not aware. We're just like, we're in victim mode. And it's like, well, why do I keep getting a cheater? Or why do I keep getting this liar? Or, why don't Tyrone pay his bills? Jimmy didn't either,
Or he's not a provider. He just want to sit at home and play video games all day or whatever.
Exactly. And our Anthony does a really, really wonderful job at, just kind of getting to the root of these patterns. We always have to go back to an inward reflection. We have to look at ourselves. Energy is always flowing, and if our energy is flowing a certain way, then a certain type of person is going to come our way.
Absolutely.
So and I learned that through our Anthony. So you guys, as we give you food for thought, he's also going to deliver information that is really life altering, stuff that maybe you hadn't heard before, and give it to you in a way that you never had it given before. I remember hearing a few things that our Anthony had presented to me, and I'm like, well, I heard that before, but his delivery can, it's almost like he could see right through me, and I don't know, it did something. And so you gotta just kind of sit back, like as you chill out and you relax and you listen in, understand that this brother has some real information for you guys that really can change the dynamics of your life and the direction of your relationships.
Wow. Thank you. You talking about me, right?
That's right.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It just it feels, I think when you're, and this is like a side thing, but sometimes when you're in the zone in your life, you really don't think about what you contribute. You know what I mean? You just do it. And I think a lot of women fall into that too. Like women are just so giving that you don't think about it until later, years later, where you're like, I've given all this to these men, and what do I have to show for it? You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the reason why I am motivated to provide this type of content to specifically women, and I know I'll help men, because men. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she's just now coming to the conclusion of what I told her a few years ago, that everything starts with the man. The man is the beginning of any kind of progression as it relates to the family unit. If he's not in his rightful position, then it's going to throw everybody off. And just think about how many people and children are affected by not having that covering of a man in his rightful position. It throws off the woman, which throws off the children, which throws off other children, because now you got a community of children that are with their mothers that don't have the man to provide that covering. So now you have a collection of different people that don't have that man covering, which causes the community, which we see it today, to be where it is.
That's right.
But it all starts with the men. If you have men that are not in their rightful position and doing what they're supposed to do, then you will have offspring that will follow suit. So you'll end up with a lot of problems, a lot of relationship problems. I would have never known this had I not had my mentor, which is a great man who taught me like pretty much everything that I know. And he's a lot of the reason why I have the relationship that I have now with my wife.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, basically, does internet dating work? Does dating work? Do relationships work? And it depends on you. If you're continuously getting what you say you don't want, then we got to find out what the problem is. The problem ain't everybody else. It has to be something inside of you that's causing you to attract these type of people that you say you don't want. And the fact that a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to date, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that, it does not solve the issue. It just delays it. So the issue is still there whenever you're ready to get back into a relationship. That's why second marriages third marriages, fourth, and so on and so forth get worse. You would think that by the time a person got to their fourth or fifth marriage, they would have it figured out. But no, actually, the statistics say that it actually gets worse. There's like a 95% chance that it won't work. Whereas when on your first marriage, it's like a maybe 50, 60% chance. And the more you get married, the worse it gets. So that's what we want to do, is provide great content, great information, not just your typical run-of-the-mill, this is what a man should do, or this is what a good man does, and woo, woo, woo. Like, you know that. Like, you can get that anywhere. But what does that mean to you? How are you attracting that? How are you attracting a good woman? What is a good woman? What is a good man for you? That's going to be something that we have to kind of dig into, because internet dating, anything works. You can walk out and meet a person at a homeless shelter. If you homeless, you can meet the ideal person at a homeless shelter. You can meet whoever you are, wherever you are. But it's like, if I meet you where I am and then I want to progress, are you going to be coming with me? Because you may be comfortable being where you are enough to not want to grow with me. So that's something you have to take into account. And because we're changing so much and we're growing so much, you have to be paying attention to what you are currently attracting, because that is ideally what's for you. Now, if you want something different, then we got to make some changes.
Mm-hmm. Changing it up on the inside.
Yep. Got to change it up. So we're going to wrap up this episode. And I think the next episode, matter of fact, you guys make sure you tune in. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Go to our website, www.relationshipsandchill.com. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Relationships and Chill TV. And make sure you definitely tune back in, because the next episode is going to be about saving a failing relationship, meaning relationships that are going in the direction that you don't want them to go. We're going to talk to you guys about how to save those relationships, how to get it in gear, how to get it back on the right track, and how to get your mind together, get your partners together, and get it on the right track to where it's actually fast track to the place where you guys ideally want to be. Or you maybe want to call it quits. But our aim in this next episode is going to be to help you guys make it work and get better and better and better. That's been today's episode. Internet dating, does it really work? It can. It just depends on you. This has been R. Anthony, Christina Lynn, Relationships and Chill, and we out. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Relationships and Chill. For more information on cultivating the relationship of your dreams, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Relationships and Chill, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Relationships and Chill TV. You can also visit our website at www.relationshipsandchill.com. Together, let's make relationships great again.